Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Soulful Abundance with Chris Williams. I am Chris Williams, and I am super excited to have one of my friends here to talk all about abundance and human design, Laura West. Laura, I am so glad that you're here. Finally, I know we've been talking about this for a while, and we finally get you on here to talk about quantum human design and all of the work that you're doing with abundance. You've got a book coming out. This is so exciting. Thank you for
Yeah,
being
I'm so
here.
excited to be here and talk with you.
Yeah. So introduce yourself for us. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, what's your mission.
Yeah, my company is called Joyful Business, joyfulbusiness.com, and I work with change makers, leaders, people who are really passionate, a lot of entrepreneurs who are really passionate about what they do. They want to be on purpose, and they're really discovering or have discovered their soul work, this lifelong work that how they're meant to share their gifts with the world and their purpose. And but yet maybe the world hasn't quite they haven't quite felt like they fit into the business world,
Mhm.
that somehow they know they want to lead, they want to make a positive difference. But this whole marketing thing, this whole um, hustle culture just has not fit. It's like clothes that don't fit. And so I
Yeah.
really help them find their design, their true nature, find their authentic gifts, and then how do they shed those old, I call them shackles, that have been
Yeah.
around their ankles, and I've worked with so many coaches way back in the day who were really brilliant and smart, but had no idea how to work and help people who were different than them. It
Yeah.
was kind of like everybody was supposed to be the same. And so that's a big passion of mine, is to really be able to help people embrace their authenticity and create a life and a business that really works for them.
Oh, I love that. And what I love about your work is that you bring in the principles of human design, quantum human design. And for those of you that don't know what that is, I'm going to have Laura kind of share a little bit about it because this is kind of like the missing piece to understanding, the why you don't really fit in here or why you resonate with other ways or different ways of being. And I'm probably not doing it justice, so I'm going
You're
to let
doing
Laura
great.
kind of take over and share a little bit about what's quantum human design?
Yeah, I'll share. I'll back up just a little bit with,
Yeah.
I was mentioning, I've worked with, probably like you, I've worked with so many coaches over the years and
Mhm.
spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they were
Mhm.
really brilliant coaches and they had great formulas and blueprints, but I never felt like I fit. It was like, why do I always feel like the rebel or I'm uncoachable? Or
Mhm.
I was like, and my particular design type, I turn it on myself. Like, what's wrong with me that I
Mhm.
don't seem to do it like everybody else? And so discovering quantum human design and realizing here's what my archetype is just has given me such freedom and such permission to be my brilliant self. And yeah, it's
Mhm.
different maybe than some other types of archetypes and the way they go about things. But human design has been around for a really long time. I know I discovered it about 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And but it looked really complicated. Like you get this chart and it's got this kind of funky robotic computer kind of,
It does. You're
all
like,
this
what is
information on it.
that?
It's so
Uh-huh.
overwhelming. And I'm like, oh, I don't have time for that. That's like another rabbit hole. I can't go
Mhm.
down there. And it felt very, a bit on the masculine side for me, just so much
Mhm.
information. And
Mhm.
so then I came back and revisited a few years ago. And then I discovered quantum human design.
Mhm.
And so human design is basically this man got this download. You were talking about downloads, right? You got this download of how that when you're brought into this world, when you're born, that
Mhm.
you're born under certain signs and certain
Mhm.
energies. And he drew information from the chakras, from the I Ching, from astrology and the Kabbalah, and brought it all together into this program called Human Design. And so you get
Mhm.
like this roadmap for, your particular design. And then Karen Curry Parker, Dr. Parker took his work and he's since passed and has continued it on. And so and gone into the quantum human design. And
Mhm.
so the idea is that you're born with this natural energetic blueprint for how you're optimally meant to work, rest, create, play in the world, be in relationship, make decisions, access your intuition, all the things like that. But then through conditioning, it's like we get away from that design, right? And
Mhm.
our parents did the best they could, and but instilled certain things in us that may or may not work in the world today, right? Our schools, our culture,
Mhm.
all the different, imprinting messages. And so now we're spending time like, trying to find our authentic selves, but it's like, then we don't know where to go with that. Like, what do we
Mhm.
do? Are we just being rebels, and not
Mhm.
fitting into
Yeah.
the rest of the world? And so quantum human design is like this up-leveled place where as you become more aligned, more awakened, and you really work on your conditioned self and become more deconditioned, you're able to step into that quantum version of yourself. And
Mm.
so to me, I just love it. It has this up-leveled language and energy. And
Mm.
that's, I think, where we all want to go, right? It's like where we want to be our best selves and use that best self or most empowered self to be able to impact the world in whatever way we're meant to do. And
Yeah.
quantum human design helps you do that through their archetypes and their system.
That is so cool. Yeah, and quantum, I love the quantum world, especially when we talk about neuroscience and all of the different potentialities and possibilities that are
Yes.
available. So,
Yes.
yeah, so
And
that's so exciting.
that's what I love about this is, I love any assessment. I can always glean a little information, out of strengths finders or Enneagram, all
Mhm.
the different things.
Yeah.
What I love about quantum human design is it's not a box. It's more of a blueprint. It's not like you are
Mhm.
this and you got to be this for the rest of your life. It's like, here's a place and we're going to point you towards some shadow sides. We're going to point you towards the empowered side. And then you get to create it with this big giant life experiment that you have, right? And
Mhm.
then it's like, it points you towards that information so that you have a place to go. Yeah,
That is so cool. Now, how did you take that, which is amazing, and I know it would be, beneficial to anybody, no matter what they
right.
want to, do in their life, and bring it into business owners?
Yeah. So what I have found over the years, and I'm sure you have found a variation of this too, is that I came from a marketing background. And so like
Mhm.
I've been doing this almost 25 years now. And so when I practically coached my whole first coaching class that I was in, right? They all
Mhm.
um, became my clients, because I just got marketing, I understood how, and then, but it was different when it came to myself, it was like, oh, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Like, how do I do
Yeah.
that without a corporate name behind me? How do I just
Yeah.
go out there and share Laura, kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah, totally.
Um, and so I forgot what your question was. We were going
Oh,
somewhere.
how bringing human design,
Oh,
quantum
yeah,
human
into
design into
business. Yeah,
business.
so that's
Yeah.
how it started. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
You're
started
like, where
thinking,
did that
all
go?
those thoughts come in all of a sudden, and it's like, which one is it?
Yeah.
Um, and so what I noticed with my clients is we would create these amazing visions, these amazing plans. I have a huge planning background, and so we create
Hmm.
these incredible creative business plans. And then it took forever to make progress, right?
Mm.
And then what
Yeah.
I had learned from a lot of my, my coaches early on, back in the early 2000s, it was much more of a push mentality, much
Yeah.
more, well, if you're not doing it, you don't want it enough, and there was
Yeah.
some shame involved with a
Yeah,
lot of that as
totally.
well.
Hmm.
And that didn't work for me, but I didn't know, I was trying to figure it out. So then I started bringing in energetics. So I bring in trauma tapping and trauma healing and Akashic record and Akashic healing. And so that starts healing people, but then you're still like, where do you go? And
Hmm.
so for me, I bring in quantum human design to help people figure out how to market, figure out how to make
Mm.
decisions, which is a
Hmm.
huge thing in our businesses. That if we
Yeah.
don't make decisions, then we just procrastinate everything,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
you
Sit on
know,
the fence, spin, overthink. Yep, totally.
yeah, yeah, we get caught in the doubt vortex. I second guess.
Hmm.
It's my favorite
Hmm.
place to go. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
made a decision. Now let me see all the ways I can second guess,
Yeah,
And it,
exactly. Like, is this really the right thing? Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Should I really do this? I don't know. Am I the right person to do that? I mean, just
Hmm.
all the different variations. And it's exhausting, right? And
Yeah.
it uses
Yeah.
up all your energy. So then you don't have the energy to actually
Hmm.
create. And so to me, this is a huge time saver, but also what I found with my clients and myself, it's like it validates, like, oh, yeah, this is how I'm built. This is how I'm
Hmm.
designed. I'm not bad, or I'm not a procrastinator, or I'm not just a rebel. I'm actually, this is like what I'm made for. And so I'm
Yeah.
meant to do it in this way. And so it gives huge permission to be able to create your business, but also lean in to your gifts and your purpose as you do it.
Mm. Yeah, and I bet it makes so much more logical sense to your brain too when you really kind of uncover those things to say, oh, this is why I'm resistant to this piece, and this is why I'm so drawn to this piece, or here's where I, naturally feel energized, and here's where I'm like, yeah, bumping up against what people are telling me to do, and I'm like, yeah, no, I can't get
Exactly,
behind that.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a
yeah.
lot of clients who are manifesting generators and generators, and
Hmm.
manifesting generators in particular have a tendency to have a ton of creative ideas, and then
Hmm.
they zigzag their way to creation.
Yeah,
And they've probably gotten a lot of messages over the years. Why don't you pick one thing? Why
yep,
don't you stay the course? And so
yep,
then they feel kind of
yep,
shamed or guilty that somehow they're not doing it like the rest of the world. And
yeah.
yet, that's actually how they're designed to have this really creative leap
Hmm.
with their work. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a generator. I have lots of ideas.
right, right,
I definitely I have, worked with a client of mine who is a manifesting generator, and yeah, she's just like zing, 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 and I'm like, okay.
right. But it's like when you know about that, right? So
Yeah,
your generator probably, has lots of creative ideas, but also wants to go towards mastery. Like, how do we
yep,
make progression?
yeah,
And manifesting generators, like, I am progressing, but they're, blah,
yeah.
they're
But like,
doing
let's
it.
do this and let's do this and
Yes. And so it helps, even being a coach, to understand your client's type. It's like, okay, this is what they do. So let's glean, like, why do they want to go over there? What intuitively is telling them they need to do this idea and that piece, or they're
yeah.
dropping something,
Hmm.
and they intuitively know why. So that's just one
Hmm.
example. And then projectors, I'm a projector orchestrator, and we have a whole different, we don't have that sacral energy like you do, that endless, not endless energy. We have to be careful with our, all of us have to manage our energy, right? But you have
Hmm.
access to that sacral center that
Hmm.
has this incredible, I'm sure you figure that out, this incredible
Hmm.
access to energy that actually does need to be run down, run
Hmm.
out, I should say.
Hmm. Hmm.
Whereas projectors, we're mostly amplifying other people's energies and we can
Hmm.
see what's there in the world, but we're not meant to run like the Energizer Bunny. We just don't have
Yeah.
access to that. So we have to do it in different ways.
That is
Yeah.
so cool. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this is so exciting. Now I'm gonna like have to do a deep dive myself into
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
like
I'll
a
send
dip
you the
on what's
link
going
for
on with
it.
my
You
own
can,
clients.
yes, yeah, absolutely. It's and there's a lot with marketing, so often we
Hmm.
think we should just like market, 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 everything is good and we got
Hmm.
to do 100 things. And when you start really getting into your design, it's like, no, this is actually how I'm built. And this makes sense that I would market like this or have a business model like that. And so all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like things just make a lot more sense.
Will you
Um,
share some examples of that? Because I think that would really help, and I know that there's a lot of people in my audience that might know human design. They might even know what they are, but they don't quite really understand like what to do with it. So for those of
yeah.
you that are like, yeah, I'm a generator and I have no idea what to do with that info. Go to Laura, go to her website, connect with
Thank
her.
you.
She'll tell you all about that. But I would love to just get some examples of like, okay,
Sure.
if you're a projector, you're probably going to want to market this way. Or if you're a
Yes,
manifest generator, this might feel better for you. Could you share a little
absolutely.
bit about that?
Yeah, I would love to. So, I'm a projector in human design and then in quantum human design. And the idea is when the more aligned, awake you are, you start becoming this. I become an orchestrator, right? Where I'm orchestrating the energy. I'm
Mm,
here to hold this energetic blueprint. I can see what's needed to be successful.
mm,
Not necessarily that I'm out there doing all the things to help the person be successful, but I can see what is needed for them to be
mhm,
successful. And my key strategy is to, um, this one always like would kill me when I first learned human design. I know that projectors, if you know exactly what I'm going to say, but you have to wait to be recognized and invited.
mm,
And,
mm.
when you are highly creative and you're in your own business and you're making your money and paying your rent and all the things, right? It's like, no, I gotta get clients. I gotta get out there, right? And all your coaches have told you, get out there,
Yeah, get visible.
get visible and do all the things, And what I've really taken in and actually intuitively knew when I first started was that you need to acknowledge yourself and really
Hmm.
value your own work. So that's the recognition part. And then you put it
Hmm.
out there in the world, and then you look and see who recognizes it And then you work on that. Okay, let me just reach out because they've liked my post 5 times in a row, or they're
Mhm.
asking me a question about something over here, but actually it means they're engaged with my stuff. And
Mhm.
so you look for the people who are coming to you. Well, when I first started marketing back in the early 2000s, I was all about attraction marketing. And
Mhm.
attraction marketing was, build the lighthouse, shine your
Mhm.
message, and
Mhm.
people will come to you. I'm not going to
Mhm.
go running up and down the beach saying, hey, hey, want to work with me?
Mhm. Mhm.
That was exhausting to me and scary.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so it's like I naturally knew that, but yet I had been told through all these different coaching programs I'd been in that I should be doing all these more aggressive, assertive kind of
Yeah.
ways of marketing.
Mhm.
And then when I really look at, yeah, when I own my own power, own my own value, that's like I start magnetically attracting people. And actually,
Mhm.
for a projector, when you rest and restore, you actually become more magnetic. I think that happens
Mhm.
for a lot of us, but
Mhm.
projectors need a huge amount of rest and restoration.
And space, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of space and lots of ways to be in their joy, right? Because when we're
Mm.
in our joy, which is where my joyful business name came from, right?
That
It
is
was
so
all
cool.
it
So
was all
affirming.
intuitive there, right?
Yeah.
But back when I was doing joyful business, people thought I was weird. They were like, you can't have joy in business. The two don't go together,
Yeah, you got to go hard. You got to
You got
close
to
the
go.
deal.
Exactly, exactly. And then you go home and you find your joy and
Yeah.
and now everybody's like thirsting for joy. They're just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I want more joy and passion and meaning
Yeah.
and feeling like I'm
Good.
making a
Yeah.
difference. And I want to just enjoy my day.
Hmm.
Um, so a lot of it, like you might intuitively been already going there, but then you
Hmm.
didn't, it wasn't validated, it wasn't look like you were doing the wrong kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, my manifesting generators, they love working with projectors because it's like we can see the patterns and we can totally hold the space for, oh yeah, you need to do your zigzag thing, but we're going to find that umbrella where all your zig and zag
Yeah.
makes
Can have
sense.
a home. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can have a home and then you still have permission, so to speak, like to do your zigzag, but also to you don't leak a lot of energy because you're like, why am I wanting to go in this direction? And then I get a little bit from it and then I move on.
Yeah.
It's actually trusting that you got exactly what you needed from it. And then
Yeah.
you moved on to the next thing. So there's something I noticed that my manifesting generator clients get huge permission that
Mm.
they're intuitively connected with that zigzag, right?
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
the generators are they're a lot about mastery. They're the
Hmm.
ones that are like really good at, um, creating something like you've created this beautiful,
Generator. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, and just created this, beautiful methodology. Like that might come more easily to you.
Hmm.
And you just know those resources that are there and you, um, really value, that mastery part of this. And then you can help other people do that and then there's all sorts of stuff in there, right? So we have the bigger archetypes, and then everybody has different profiles, different channels,
Mm.
different gates, and there's all these nuances in there of where
Yeah.
those opportunities are to, every generator is going to look different. Every manifesting generator is going to look and have their own unique, uniqueness
Hmm.
to that.
Yeah. Their own unique spin based on again, I have no idea. I can say I'm a 4-6 generator. I have absolutely no idea what that means. That's
Yes,
what I'm like. For
yes.
those of you that know what you are, but you have absolutely no idea what to do with it, like,
Right,
gotta
right.
go.
Yeah, that four. I have a lot of clients that have that four, a 2-4 or 4-6.
Mm,
And that four energy is so interesting because there's um, this huge desire to go inside, right, to go
hmm.
inside, maybe to go away.
Hmm.
We were talking before this call like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to rest, I need to go away, I need to go inside. And I have a couple clients like that and they go away and then they need somebody to kind of call them out when the time is right, and somebody
Hmm.
calls them out and then they pop out and they need to connect and they need to be in community with
Yeah.
their work, right, but
Yeah.
it needed to generate and integrate.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So true. That's exactly what I do.
uh,
Exactly. Like, yeah,
yeah.
that's what my next book I was telling you earlier, is based on, my experience for the past 25 years of taking quarterly retreats, going away, going inside, having that quiet time, getting
Oh
all
my
those
gosh.
divine
Yes,
downloads. It's where the Soulful Abundance system came, right? And then coming back out and just being like, boom, like these great
exactly.
ideas, and here's this cool stuff. And yeah.
I just think that, first of all, I just love that you do that because I just think that's good for everybody, right? To have that
Yeah.
time away and to be able to create and have time to like
Hmm.
sift through their own thoughts, right? To find what their
Yeah.
creative, what
Totally.
they're about, right? And what they believe
Hmm.
in. But I just love how I don't know, I think it's kind of magical, this whole quantum human design thing that's like, oh yeah, it's right there in your, your energetic map, right?
That is so cool. I love that. It is so affirming. Like it feels so good to be like, oh yeah, well actually I've been doing that.
Right.
And that is really affirming to know that that's part of who I am and part of a natural energetic system that, I've been leaning into. And you can kind of also then I would think, take it the next step and be like, okay, so where might I be getting in my way? Where might I be doing things that are out of alignment with what I, my design is that I can have an
Absolutely.
opportunity to grow and expand into.
Yes, absolutely. So then you see, it gives you affirmation, maybe some things that you have done, and like, oh, this is a way of creating in the world or being in the world, taking care of myself in the world, and why it's so important. But then there's also, it points to challenges and things like
Mhm.
that. So some people in their map, in their chart,
Mhm.
have like the emotional, they have this emotional solar plexus that's defined.
Mm,
And we won't go into exactly what that looks like in the chart and all the details. But if you
yeah.
have this defined emotional solar plexus, then you actually are really in tune with this emotional wave that comes
Mm,
through. And the more you
mhm.
pay attention to that, what happens is lots of times you get really excited about an idea, like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing, greatest thing. And then it goes down and you hit rock bottom and you're like, what was I thinking? I can't do that. I can't afford that. Or I shouldn't do that. Or that was a
Yeah.
dumb idea. Or second guessing, all
Mhm.
the things we were talking about. But then it'll come back up to the neutral place where then you can make a really good decision, right? And
Yeah.
but knowing what your wave is an incredible part of this. And
That is
so,
so cool.
yeah.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about decisions. Yeah. Like as a
Hmm.
business owner, you have to be able to make decisions and make confident decisions. Otherwise, you don't go anywhere. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. And the decision, like we get decision fatigue, right? Because
Mhm.
everything, it's like, should I buy this program? Do I buy this software? Do I hire this person? Do I
Mhm.
hire the coach?
Mhm.
Do I take off to go to yoga when I should be working? I mean, there's just all
Mhm.
these decisions that we're making
Mhm.
all the time, all throughout the day, and you can get really tired from it. And then we can make the decision, but then we have these energy leaks. Like was saying, sharing with you, my favorite one is I make the decision, I'm all in, and then I start second guessing it.
Mhm.
And so now that I know what my strategy and authority is, it's like, okay, that's the thing that I do. I can look at it
Mhm.
compassionately, but
Yeah.
I've got a strategy to help deal with that. Yeah.
That is so
And then, of
cool.
course, I use all the tapping and Akashic healing and things like that to help our nervous systems, release what we don't need that are getting in the
Yeah.
way too. So I think it's a
Yeah.
great companion.
Yeah. Oh, I can totally see how that would be so important because,
Yeah.
yeah, because then when we bump up against something, if we're not feeling safe, our nervous system is going to keep us in self-sabotage mode or procrastination or whatever. When we can kind of release that, feel safe and
Absolutely.
confident again. Oh, that's so
Yes.
good. So, you've got a new book coming out in
I just,
November. Tell
mhm.
us more. Cannot wait to hear
Yeah.
all about it.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's called the Magic Scripting Journal.
Hmm.
And I have been doing scripting for years. And scripting is, yeah, there's a lot of different names for it, but scripting is where you go to the end. You might go for a year from now and you write about the most successful year that you've had, right? You know your
Hmm.
design, you've done your things, you write your book, or you're doing your podcast, you're working with amazing clients, or what have you. And then you write it into being is what happens.
Mm.
And I have used scripting for so many things. I scripted my first divorce, which sounds kind of
Oh
weird.
no.
That was kind of weird. I wanted to have a divorce, but this was the father of, we had two kids together. It's like we were going to
Right.
be connected for the rest of our lives. And he's a good person, but we just no longer
Yeah.
worked anymore. We weren't growing together. And so I scripted, we would have these little meetings, about different parts of the agreement and how we wanted to work things out. And I would script each one. each conversation.
Mhm.
And as though it was the highest possible outcome for both of us.
Yeah.
And what it did was it just aligned my energy with what I
Mhm.
really, really want. And, when we left the court at the time, we had to, go to court, not court, but you had to go in front of a judge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And afterwards, he took me to this country club. We had driven separately and we got champagne and we toasted to our future together. Like I could have never scripted that, right?
Wow.
But I do think because I scripted each piece of it, that this brought us closer together. And we would often, be at baseball games together, or sitting together, and people would be like,
Mhm.
gosh, you guys like are pretty friendly, and I,
Mhm.
I really attributed a lot to my scripting, the way that I wanted this relationship to unfold.
That is fantastic. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
It sounds similar to future pulling, which is a
Hmm.
term that you and I are both familiar of, where we are
Yes.
visualizing what we want our future to be. But then you have, I'm sure you've got a system of doing that
Mhm.
inside of the journal. That's so cool.
Yes, yeah. And inside the journal, we do a year long, and then you can do it for the week. And then it's
Mm,
30 days of scripting your day. So, like, you go to the end of the
mm.
day as though maybe you're climbing into bed and you're taking a few minutes to just reflect back on the day and how it went. And you've already, you script like, oh, and this podcast interview with, Chris was amazing and we had this great connection. And you just script everything into being. And
That
it,
is so
it
cool.
really, when you align your intention and your energy, things start happening, things start shifting.
Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. So where can we get the book? Is it going to be on Amazon? Is it on your website? Like how
It
do
will be both. So it will be starting on Amazon because I am getting it ready in time for a big speaking thing that I have going on. So that'll be the first place. And if you're on my email list, you'll get the emails and you'll be able to hear more about it. And yeah,
Great. So how can we get to your email list? We'll definitely make sure that we put all of this in the show notes. So be sure to, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, definitely hit the show notes. If you're on YouTube, click the description. We'll make sure that we have all of these links here. But
love it.
how can we get on your
You can go to joyfulbusiness.com. That's one of the
amazing?
easiest ways. You'll see all about it. I do have a free gift too, if I can share
Yay.
that, if you're good with that.
Absolutely. For sure. We will definitely pop that in there.
Okay, what I've noticed, and I'm sure you have too, that, oh my gosh, so many people are feeling so tired and so
Yeah,
burned out. I think burnout is probably one of the most searched for terms right now
I
that's
know.
happening. Everybody's trying to manage their energy, whether they know they're managing energy or not, but
Yeah.
the world's kind of overwhelming right now.
Yeah,
And
totally.
so I have this what I call a sacred recovery toolkit from burnout to brilliance. And it's
Mm,
a creative online journal. You get an energetic clearing that I do to help you with moving from when you're in burnout, there's a certain level of grief and letting go and things that you need
mhm.
to do to be able to move into brilliance.
Yeah.
And so you get the energetic clearing, and then you get a link to getting your quantum human design chart and
Oh my
reports and
God, I
stuff
am
like
so all in on that. That sounds
that.
amazing. Cool.
Awesome.
Laura, this is so fun. I am so, so glad that we had you on Soulful Abundance today. Like you and I definitely clicked, the first time we met each other a couple years ago at a conference. And this is just so nice to come back around and to have you share with my community all of the cool things that I know that this is going to totally help them in building the business that feels soulfully abundant to them and also aligned and energy fulfilling and joyful and all of the good things. So everybody go check out Laura, joyfulbusiness.com, click the link below, take the quiz, get all the goodies. And thank you so much for being here today. I so
Yeah.
appreciate you. Is there anything
Thank
you
you
want to
for,
leave with our guests before we pop off today?
yeah, I guess one of the things I'd love to leave is, you know, things are different. The
Mhm,
world, it's no doubt the world has changed and we're in this big state of disruption.
mhm.
Um, but what we need to focus on is not what we left behind, but it's like,
Yeah.
where are we going and how do we access our creative energy, our creative power? How do we manage our energetics? How do we access our intuition? Because our
Mhm.
intuition is the
Yep.
thing that we are going to need because right now we can't tell outside what the truth is. So we
Yeah,
have to go
totally.
inside. And so I
Yeah.
think those are some of the essential skills for where we're going in the future. So if you can do your grief work and letting go of the way
Mhm.
things have been and really start taking good care of yourself, probably buy your book when it comes out, because that sounds like that's a big part of how do you take care of yourself and really
Yeah.
align with your design so that you can have that access to creative power for the future.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing all of your brilliance with us today. So,
thank
thanks so
you.
much, Laura, for being here. All right, everybody, click the links and we will see you next time. Be sure to subscribe and give us a review, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.